Lalo, THR here. What's going down, everybody? I hope you're doing fantastic. On this late evening, I'm here in sunny SoCal. Rather hot day today. Definitely broke my sweat during work, and I feel good. I feel ready to produce some content, man. I know it's been a while. So just a heads up. Um, I don't know if this is going to be a thing permanently, but guys, for the foreseeable future, the new format for this show, I will be using a recorder app that was pre-installed on my phone to instantly react to all of the news, rumors, and happenings in the world of professional wrestling, boxing, and entertainment in general. This is the highlight reel. Generally speaking, a wrestling podcast, but I like to talk about boxing as well and other things. You know what I mean? I don't get too political or nothing like that. But hey, if it happens, it happens. I just like to talk that shit. That's what this is all about. And today you're going to listen to a series of recordings that was produced over the last few weeks, actually. And I find that it's easier for me to do it in that way instead of getting my stuff set up and recording one long, hour plus, 2 hour plus episode in one sit through. It's actually easier for me to, like I said, just pull out my little recorder and just start reacting to different things and creating discussion, creating conversation, because that's really the main goal with this podcast, to create conversation and hopefully good, stimulating conversation. I do rant in this episode. There is a kind of a cringy segment where I'm like ripping the AEW subreddit to shreds. And I actually debated whether I wanted to keep that in the episode or edit that out. But I didn't edit it out because it's just too damn hilarious to me. It's super funny. So before that even plays, I just want to apologize in case I offend anybody who, may be a subscriber, maybe a part of the AEW subreddit. You know what I mean? It's a cool place. I like it, but there's also assholes on there as well. And maybe I'm one of them. Maybe I am the asshole in this situation. You be the judge. Guys, feel free to comment in the comment section on the YouTube portion of this podcast. Obviously, Lalo, THR, the highlight reel. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and in most places where you get your favorite podcasts. You can tune in. But in the YouTube portion of this podcast, feel free to comment anything you want in the comment section. I encourage you to make suggestions, recommendations, requests. If you want me to talk about something, you want my opinion on anything, feel free. And if the beat, the little instrumental that normally plays in the background, if that's sorely missed, if you really want that a part of the show, feel free to comment that and I'll take it into consideration. Like I said, guys, it's just a lot easier for me to do it this way. That's why you're not going to hear the beat. You're just going to hear me rambling on. In fact, some of the segments you're going to hear, like I like woke up in the morning, and as soon as I woke up from sleep, I'm actually, I pull out my recorder and I start talking about stuff that I've been wanting to talk about, and just either I don't have the time to do it or I'm just too lazy, quite frankly. So doing it in that manner also makes this less of a chore to me, and a little more easier. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to talk about AEW All In at Wembley, how I almost gave up on AEW because I'm losing confidence in their capabilities to build stars and compelling television, and I'll give you the reasons why. Like I said, I have a really cringy AEW subreddit rant, so enjoy that. Feel free to laugh at me. I laughed at myself when I listened back to it. Popped me pretty good. I also talk about King Ryan Garcia, and Gervonta Tank Davis, the big mega fight that popped off last month. I never did review it, so I'm going to get into it now in the talking boxing portion of the pod, as well as WWE Backlash emanating from San Juan, Puerto Rico, quite possibly the best live audience all year. And yes, that includes WrestleMania's audience. That's how good the Puerto Rican crowd was for Backlash. So yeah, and of course the humongous news and rumors surrounding Tony Khan, AEW, and Warner Brothers Discovery. Guys, there's rumors that there's a $1 billion deal in place. Tony Khan's gonna make the announcement tomorrow on Dynamite. It is Tuesday, May the 16th, as I'm recording this intro here. And yeah, tomorrow after Dynamite pops off, you best believe your boy Lalo THR is gonna be back in full effect to discuss the happenings tomorrow night, at a date to be determined. But I'm also I'm super excited, guys. So let's just get started. Let's do what it do. Enjoy the show, and again, hit me up, Lalo_THR on the gram and the Twitter, and feel free to give me your comments, your recommendations, your trolling. You want to make fun of me, you want to laugh at me, you want to talk shit, feel free to do so in the comment section. I ain't even mad at you. I would do the same. So the title of this video, I almost gave up on AEW. Kind of clickbaity. I'll tell you right off the bat. You know, I'm not gonna lie to my listeners. It is a little clickbaity because I'll never give up on AEW. I'm gonna just be real, because AEW, what separates it from WWE and even WCW that I used to watch back in the day, is that AEW is a company I got to see be born. So I watched it from the very first episode all the way till now. So it's like it's always gonna be different from WWE and from WCW. Even from TNA, for instance. TNA, another good example. Even like that. Because I didn't watch TNA from its inception to now, you know what I mean? So AEW is always going to have that special, I guess, emotional attachment, I guess. I don't know, because I watched it grow, man. I watched its genesis. I mean, I even watched the All In show before AEW was a thing. So it's always going to be different. So I can't give up on something that I was there from the very beginning. You know what I mean? I'm that type of person. The only way I would give up on AEW is if I gave up on wrestling altogether. If I just stopped being a wrestling fan, which I don't think is possible at this point. But I mean, I could tell you right now, there was a period in my life where I kind of like, quote unquote, grew out of wrestling, when I just like stopped watching wrestling altogether. But that was before AEW was even a thing. I was just like bored of WWE and stuff. And here comes AEW. They kind of reinstilled my love for wrestling again. On the part of WWE, I think the main thing that did it for me really was Raw going 3 hours. Ever since Raw has been 3 hours, I have not actually watched an entire episode of Raw, probably since like 2014 maybe, you know. And I think at that point, I don't even remember when Raw went 3 hours exactly. It probably was in 2014 or maybe even earlier than that. But Raw, Monday Night Raw was something I would watch religiously. Same with SmackDown as well. But when Raw went 3 hours and WWE programming was just kind of whack, that's when I kind of took a long ass hiatus away from wrestling. And every so often I would catch highlights and things of that sort, but never actually sat through the shows and watched all the pay-per-views every month, you know. So anyway, with AEW though, I was there from the get-go, from the jump. So I don't think I'll ever fully give up on AEW. However, I gotta say, man, ever since Brawl Out, and this goes beyond Brawl Out. This is even before then. I gotta say, I've been losing confidence in AEW's capabilities to tell stories and make compelling television for a while. And this goes way before the CM Punk brawl out fiasco, which is still producing drama, still producing headlines to this day. We have a pending Punk return on a brand new show. We'll get into that in a second. But, AEW, it seems like they're, instead of progressing, they're digressing. I don't know. They're going backwards instead of forwards in certain areas. Now, the All In show, that is, I mean, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. I mean, that's a monumental event. That's huge for AEW. And I want to say right now, actually, as harsh of a critic as I've been of AEW for the past several, months, anybody who shits on the all-in success that it's having right now, they're just being dicks. They're just being straight up, bona fide, uncut dicks. Because the all-in stuff is fantastic for AEW. And I am so proud and happy for them, really. Just seeing this company go from, in 2019, its inception, and, I mean, the stadium show in New York was a huge milestone. And now you have this all-in show at Wembley Stadium. Tony Khan, he owns an English Premier League team, second division, but an English Premier League team nonetheless, Fulham FC, I believe. And they have their own stadium, Craven Cottage. And I thought that would be the logical place where they would debut in the UK. But Tony Khan said, Tony Khan took a bump of some of that soda and said, we ain't going to Craven Cottage. We're debuting at Wembley Stadium, one of the largest stadiums in the entire world. He's a madman, bro. He's a mad lad, as the Brits would say. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is insane. And the fact that in pre-sale, they've already pushed over 35,000+ tickets. That is incredible. And anybody out there that shits on that, they're just being shits themselves. They're just being dicks. Because that is fantastic news for AEW. You know what I mean? I couldn't be any happier. Like, if I was Tony Khan, bro, I'd take some more bumps of that soda. I'd recreate that scene in Scarface, Tony Montana on the table with that mountain of soda, sticking his nose all up in it. I would do that right now if I was Tony Khan with a big old smile on my face. That is a triumphant moment for this company, for this brand. But that doesn't negate the problems. The problems continue. I see it on a weekly basis. There's no storytelling, and the stories that they try to come up with are subpar. They sign so many people. They have so many people under contract. And they put guys like, oh, man. They put guys like Evo Uno in the main event, with Jon Moxley, instead of featuring somebody like Miro, Andrade, Cien Almas, or El Idolo, my bad. Really talented guys who look at Acclaimed. Just to see where they're at right now is baffling. With when they were the hottest thing in the whole company at the beginning of the year, and now you see where they're at now. They're a complete afterthought, and no amount of clever punchlines in his raps when they make their entrance on the part of Max Caster can save them right now. They're a complete afterthought. Look at Wardlow. That TNT title is probably the most worthless title in all of professional wrestling. I said it. The TBS title held by Jade Cargill, another worthless title. And, Jade Cargill is probably one of the most impressive looking talents that they have. And what they're doing with her is they've actually cooled her down by having her maintain this undefeated streak and carry that useless championship. They've actually cooled down her jets instead of getting her hotter, because she's beating a bunch of jabronettes. You know what I mean? She's not beating anybody noteworthy. And the people that she does beat of note, like La Güera Loca, Taya Valkyrie, and a pretty bad match. A very bad match, actually. I was high on Taya Valkyrie. I put her over on this show, and I'm embarrassed because that match, like I said before, sometimes there's, no matter how talented someone is, if they don't have chemistry with the person they're working with, it could end up in a disaster. Either way, no matter how talented they are, you know what I mean? It happens. And I think that's the situation there. Taya and Jade just don't have chemistry. That match was terrible. And yeah, Jade beat somebody of note, Taya Valkyrie, at least of note to a nerd like me who actually knows who Taya Valkyrie is. To the casual audience, they probably have no clue who Taya Valkyrie is. AEW, when they bring somebody new, they don't build them up. They just assume that their nerd audience knows everything, but they have to understand that there's other people watching the show too. Or maybe they, you know what? Actually, let me correct myself, because it's a possibility. Maybe they just gave up on trying to appeal to a quote unquote casual audience. They've probably given up on that, actually, now that I think about it. And maybe that's why they don't even bother to like showcase somebody to, like Taya Valkyrie. They work with AAA, and Taya Valkyrie made a name for herself in AAA in Mexico. They should have, requested some video footage of her from AAA. I'm sure they would have gave them to them. They, come on, El Hijo del Vikingo is working AEW, and he's a AAA guy. They should have showed video packages of Taya Valkyrie and build her up as a new feature attraction for AEW. In the women's division, they did nothing. Excalibur just talked at 1,000,000 miles an hour like he does, trying to put her over, and she doesn't get over, okay? And yeah, Jade beats her, and look at the way she beat her in such it's a lame finish that nobody's going to remember. And if they do remember, they're going to remember it for the wrong reasons, because it was just terrible. And so, AEW has inadvertently killed Jade Cargill's push while trying to continue to push her, if that makes any sense. They inadvertently fucked up Jade Cargill while trying to make her bigger than what she is. Because, Jade Cargill could squash 100 jabronettes, and carry around that useless title that they pretty much just had made and constructed for her. It's not going to get her nowhere. She needs to be in a story. She should be, man, I think she would have got a big pop if she came out. And if they did an angle where the AEW originals in the women's division, right? The AEW originals, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. I know they got Hikaru Shida, but let's just say Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter were getting, the brakes beat out of them by the Outcasts, outnumbered, and Jade Cargill actually came out. And of course, she didn't come out running right away. She just came out on stage and kind of thought about it. And the commentators, this is Excalibur's moment to tell the story. Oh, Jade Cargill has a look of apprehension. She herself is an AEW original, but she has not been the best of friends with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, and she's in the TBS women's, she's the TBS women's champ, and blah blah blah. That's the time then to tell a story while Jade Cargill thinks, ponders, and then makes her way to the ring like a badass and cleans fucking house, destroys the outcast, sending them packing. That's what you do with Jade Cargill. Instead, they had Hikaru Shida do it. And I mean, I get it. People like Hikaru Shida. That's fine. But Jade Cargill is someone they're trying to push and get behind. And they've put so much money and resources into her. It would only make logical sense that she would be the one in that role with the AEW originals. Because she's quite possibly the AEW original in the women's division, besides Britt Baker, that has had put the most resources into. Let me tell you, this is come on, man. She's like 3 years undefeated, I think, 2 or 3 years as an undefeated champion. You know what I mean? Undefeated for sure, champion for at least going on 2 years. But instead they put Hikaru Shida in that position, and Jade Cargill is gonna just continue squashing a bunch of nobodies, and so they killed Jade Cargill without trying, like while actually trying to push her and make her hotter. They actually killed her. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating when I see stuff like that. Because that's just one little example. And I know people probably wouldn't agree with me just because everybody doesn't like Jade Cargill. That's fine. Opinions differ. That's fine. But that's just one example of how I feel like AEW has the resources to put on fucking compelling television, and they just don't do it. I don't know if they're incapable of it. I don't know, the competent writing staff that they do have with Tony Khan and BJ Whitmer and whoever else is helping him. Come on, man. They could do so much better with the resources they have. That's what kills me. It's not even the fact that they're putting on mediocre television. To me, what kills me the most about AEW is the potential that they have, that they could just be doing so much better, man. So much better, and they don't. That's what kills me the most about AEW. But anyway, and that's just one example. And again, I know I'm in the minority of wanting Jade Cargill to be with the AEW originals and stuff like that. That's just one example. I think AEW could use a general manager, a figure that will appear and as a real authority figure, and that'll be legit, meaning this person will also do the scrums. I think Tony Khan should keep his ass off of TV. 110%. Tony Khan should not be on TV. In fact, I don't even think Tony Khan should tweet anymore at all. Not about AEW, he could tweet about the Jaguars and Fulham FC, but no more AEW stuff. Tony Khan should if he wants to remain a booker for AEW, that's fine. But character-wise on TV, he should quietly exit and put a general manager of AEW that's gonna tweet for the brand, and that's gonna go on the media scrums and do that stuff. Because Tony Khan ain't it. And I've been saying this for almost 2 years now. I've been saying this. And the AEW fan base, that's a whole nother topic right there. That's a problem with AEW is the fans. The AEW fans. They're like the most delusional, mental gymnastic doing motherfuckers that I've ever encountered in my life. And I'm an AEW fan, but I'm talking about specifically Reddit. The AEW subreddit makes me sick to my stomach, dog. You cannot say nothing negative about AEW. They throw little fits. Bro, I got banned from the AEW subreddit. A temporary ban, but I got banned nonetheless just for asking who a girl was. in a picture. That somebody posted a picture of Tony Khan and some white dude, and there was a chick riding passenger, and I was like, damn, who's the broad riding passenger? No harm, no foul. I didn't mean no disrespect. I was just curious. That's how I talk. I didn't mean no disrespect. I just said, damn, who's the broad riding passenger? Because she looked good. I didn't say that. I just asked, who is that? That's it. And I got fucking banned for that. You know? Um and you know, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna be real with you 100%. I have said a lot of dumbass shit on the internet in my life. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been trolling since before trolling was even a thing. Okay, I mean even before Reddit, before Twitter, I was on message boards, fucking trolling and you know talking that shit, saying stupid ass things. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not proud of it. You know what I mean? I'm very much so ashamed of some things that I have said. You know, to a degree. You know what I mean? But I have never gotten banned from anywhere though. Anywhere, let alone for asking the identity of somebody. Just asking who is that? You know what I mean? I've never gotten banned for something so fucking stupid. And I've said a lot of dumbass shit on message boards, on in YouTube comments especially too. In YouTube comments, I've said some dumbass shit before. Okay? But I've never gotten banned for asking who somebody is. I don't know if it's because of the way I said it. That's the way I talk. I just said, damn, who's the broad riding passenger? How was I supposed to say it? Oh, excuse me, gentlemen. Would anybody happen to know the identity of the female that is sitting in the passenger seat? Because she is quite attractive, and perhaps I'd like to follow her on a social media platform of my choosing. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Is that how I was supposed to ask? Fucking soft ass, bitch ass marks on the AEW subreddit, bro. I swear to God. Anyway, but that's I'll tell you, if I ever get famous, or not famous, but like if this podcast were to blow up and I would get to like a JD from NY type of level. Like if I were to get on his level, like a JD from NY type of level, that clip right there, I'll never live that down. People will clip that and spread that shit. I will never live that down. But anyway, but that's the main problem with AEW is just that they have so much potential, man. They could do so much better with the resources that they have, but they don't. And the AEW fan base, they're toxic, delusional, fucking mark ass bitches, like just soft ass marks, delusional, doing mental gymnastics, you know, and they don't take no criticism. They're the type of people, I bet, they're the type of people that probably fight with their own parents. You know, these kids on the AEW subreddit, they're probably, you know, their mom like, hey, Tim, get a job. I am, Mom. I'm an AEW moderator. I'm a moderator on Reddit. That's my job. I don't get paid, but I do a lot of work. Fucking soft ass, bitch ass marks. But and not everybody. There's some cool people on there, but just some of the people I've encountered though. I you can't say nothing negative, man. You'll get downvoted, you'll get banned for asking who somebody is. Just fucking retarded, bro. Just soft as fuck. Never seen a place like that. AEW Collision is reportedly going to be the name of the brand new show that's going to debut on a Saturday next month. I believe June 17th is the date. I could be mistaken. This is news that I covered months ago, many months ago, and it seems like it's coming to fruition now. There's speculation that this is going to be a brand split type of deal where CM Punk will basically be the main character, bro, of Collision. He's going to be the star of Collision. I would imagine they're going to put FTR on Collision, who are the current tag champs. So the trios champs, they're going to stay on Dynamite. At least that's my speculation.
and let's talk about the brand split, because that's a big talking point. I mean, first of all, I hope, Collision is a success and everything. I wish them well in that, but let's talk about this brand split. It's not a hard brand split, quote unquote, more like a soft brand split. So I guess what that means is, on an official level, there's not going to be a brand split on an official level, but it's basically unofficially just to keep CM Punk away from the elite, and that's pathetic. That's pathetic. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. The whole theory, the whole concept of the brand split is something I was against during AEW's first 3 years. I was against it. But now, heading into their fourth year as a brand now, I'm actually all for a brand split now. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. They certainly have the roster to support a brand split. They have enough championships. They have two different women's titles. They have the TBS Women's Championship and they have the AEW Women's Championship. They have two different mid-card titles. The TNT title, which that I don't even know if you want to call that a mid-card title. That's a useless title. And the international title, held by Orange Cassidy. Of course, the TNT title held by Wardlow for however long that lasts. Piers Christian has his sights on Wardlow for whatever reason. And then they have, of course, the AEW Championship, which is held by MJF, and he could float across each brand as he pleases. I don't see why not. I don't think MJF is a petty, child-minded guy who is not going to work with certain people. MJF's all about business. Point being, he's all about business. He's gonna work with Punk. He's gonna work with the elite. He's gonna work with whoever. So that's not gonna be an issue there on the part of MJF. So I'm all for a brand split. I'm all for it. Like I said, they have the roster to support a brand split. They have a bunch of titles to support a brand split. But I'm not for the reason that they're initiating a soft brand split. I'm not for the reason, because if the reason that they're doing a brand split in 2023 is to appease the elite and CM Punk because they don't want to work with each other, this is yet another demonstration of Tony Khan's failure to be a boss, to be a head honcho. You know what I mean? He's letting the talents dictate what he does instead of dictating to them what they're supposed to be doing. That's not a boss. That's not a businessman. And that's pathetic, quite frankly. That they got to create a whole brand new ass show and put Punk on it just to appease the elite because they don't want to work with CM Punk. And there's been reports scattered around that Punk is willing to do what's right and work with the elite and apologize to who he needs to apologize to. But apparently it's the elite who don't want nothing to do with CM Punk. And that's just pathetic, man. That's just pathetic. Now, I'm not excusing CM Punk and his original actions that caused all of this in the first place. Him, having his little meltdown at the media scrum. I'm not excusing that. But if it's true that the elite just don't want to work with CM Punk and they're being petty and they're acting like petulant children. Like Punk said, Punk, it's becoming more and more true what he said. I work with fucking children. If they're acting like that, bro, where they're not willing to accept an apology and work with him, they're acting like little spoiled brats, little kids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't wanna. That's how the elite sound. If it's true. Because that's some little bitch ass shit. That is the most money making angle that AEW could do right now. Is CM Punk versus Kenny Omega, bro. I said it when it happened initially. All those months ago, I said the biggest main event in AEW history would be a CM Punk versus Kenny Omega. And I had pitched it for for the stadium show that they do in New York, the Grand Slam. Either that or all out. But now with Wembley coming up, all in, I mean, that seems like the perfect place, the perfect location for this to unfold. And it doesn't seem like things are going to get put in place for that to happen because certain key pieces to the puzzle don't want to function because they're fucking acting like kids. Nah, man. Nah, that upsets me, bro. That upsets me. But yeah, man, Collision looking to be a Saturday show, and it's gonna, this is also, let me just go back though to the whole brand split thing. This is gonna be interesting as well to see which show like does better, because I mean AEW Dynamite's ratings have been slumping pretty badly lately. I mean, I think the last Dynamite, not this past Dynamite that happened Wednesday, the most recent one, but the one that happened like 2 weeks ago, I think they sunk to the low 700s, which I never seen before prior. I never seen Dynamite get that low of a rating. Then again, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to TV ratings because I've said it before and I'll say it again. People, TV ratings, the landscape of television ratings has changed dramatically in 2023. The main thing that's important is social engagements and things of that nature. TV ratings don't hold a lot of weight today in 2023. Don't tell Jim Cornette that. Don't tell someone like that. But this ain't 1999. This ain't 2001. TV ratings, they don't hold a whole lot of weight these days. But with that said, it's still excuse me, it's still pretty crazy to see Dynamite sink to 730K or whatever it was. That's bananas. Because I mean, typically, I mean, when Punk was there, they were getting like 1 million every week. The lowest they would get would be like 900K. And then ever since he's been gone, they've just been plateaued. They've been stuck at 800K. But they were consistent at least. That's one positive you could say. They were consistent at the 800K, 850, 860K. And then like 2 weeks ago, I seen that Dynamite do 700K. That is crazy. That is crazy. Um, so yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, clearly they're doing something right for TBS, TNT, Turner Media, no, Warner Bros. Right? That's the major conglomerate there. Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD, for them to not only give AEW a brand new show on Saturdays, which is a very risky night to produce live TV, by the way. They're going to be preempted by sporting events. I mean, Saturdays, that's a night where a lot of boxing events happen. That's a night where WWE premium live events happen. Not to mention AEW also holds premium live events on Saturdays from time to time. So clearly, Collision's gonna be getting preempted left and right. That's gonna be tricky right there. But nonetheless, for WBD to have that confidence in AEW to not only give them a brand new show on Saturdays, but guys, there is rumors that there is a new deal in place that will be announced next episode of Dynamite, that they signed a $1 billion deal for AEW content exclusivity on the WBD platform Max. And of course, the WBD networks TBS, TNT, which this is astronomical for AEW. If true, we will find out coming up on the very next episode of Dynamite. But let me just say one thing. Even if it's not a 1 billion deal, that don't matter. That don't matter, man. If it's a if it's it's gonna be a good deal regardless. It's gonna be a good deal regardless. Even if it's not a $1 billion deal, you know what I mean? Who cares? This is still a milestone for AEW, and I'm happy for them. Even though I give harsh criticism, I still wish the best for this brand, man. I've been a ride or die for AEW for the longest, but I'm not gonna stop giving my constructive criticism either. Don't get it twisted. That's not gonna happen. I always tell it how it is, man. That's my forte. Highlight reel. The spiciest podcast of the produce section. That's what I do. But nonetheless, this is getting interesting as far as Collision, as far as AEW's brand new deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. This is going to be very interesting, guys. We'll definitely keep a close eye on it, and I'll expand on it more as it becomes available. Guys, this is Lalo_THR. You can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, at Lalo_THR, as well as Spotify. Don't forget, this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. This is the highlight reel THR, Lalo_THR. Follow me on the social medias and support the podcast on the audio only platforms as well. Let's do what it do, guys. This podcast is it's the little engine that could. We're keeping it alive as much as I can. Thank you. On the WWE side of things, Backlash popped off live from San Juan, Puerto Rico. And man, what a show that was. I gotta say, that's gonna go down as one of the best pay-per-views or premium live events, as they're now called in WWE lexicon. That's gonna go down, man. One of the best PLEs of the year. Very good show. And, the Puerto Rican crowd, my goodness. Y'all, Chicago gets all the love. Everybody talks about Chicago. Oh, the fans of Chicago are rowdy. Man, Puerto Rico put Chicago to shame, bro. I'm going to tell you right now, San Juan put Chicago to shame. That crowd was madness. That crowd was out of control, and I loved every second of it. And the main thing I want to talk about, really, just some highlights of the show. I'm not going to go through the whole card, but the show-stealing match, obviously. Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, these guys knocked it out of the park. And Bad Bunny, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, Logan Paul has been getting all the praise, and I myself have praised Logan Paul as a natural, but I don't consider Logan Paul a traditional celebrity. He's a YouTuber. You know what I mean? Who really built his career by being a controversial figurehead of YouTube, and then turned into a boxer with his brother Jake. And that's pretty much how they built up their publicity. So I don't consider Logan Paul a traditional celebrity. But Bad Bunny, he's a traditional celebrity. He's a musician. He's a musical artist who does Latin trap, reggaeton, perreo. And, he doesn't have an athletic background of any sort, to my understanding, at least, to my knowledge. At least I know Logan Paul. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he was a wrestler in like college or high school or something like that. So, his natural talent in the ring is a little more understandable. But Bad Bunny should not be capable of the things he's capable of doing. That dude right there, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not really a fan of Bad Bunny's music. In fact, I used to make fun of it. Like my wife, she is a huge Bad Bunny mark. Like she is all over Bad Bunny. I told her, I'm like, you ever go to a Bad Bunny concert, you ain't going backstage. But nah, man, she loves Bad Bunny. But
his music and everything, but I never been a fan of Bad Bunny's music. There's some songs, like matter of fact, the song he came out to at Backlash, Chambea, that song, I like that song. That's one of the only Bad Bunny songs I like. He did a song with Gorillaz Inc., which I'm surprised of that collaboration, and I like that song as well. But I'm not a big Bad Bunny fan. That's the point I'm trying to make. But what he does in the ring, I am so impressed and I respect him so much because this is a guy, he's an outsider. He does not have to do this. That's what people need to really understand. I don't know how much WWE is paying him, but I guarantee you it's not nearly as much money as he makes doing his shows, doing all the stuff that he does. Like I mean, he makes more money than you can imagine. He does not need to do this, you know. And he has respect for the business. Clearly loves it. He was a fan of it. I mean, wrestling is big in Puerto Rico. They have a rich history in professional wrestling as well. The Colon family. And speaking of Colon, when Carlito came out, bro, I marked out. I haven't marked out that hard since CM Punk made his debut in AEW 2 years ago now. That I haven't marked out that hard in 2 years. That was so special, man. Carlito, a staple of my young adult life, well, my childhood. Um, yeah, I was like 15 years old when Carlito made his debut, man. That was my dude. Um, Savio Vega made a cameo appearance as well. He made two cameo appearances on the dais, and man, Savio Vega still looks fantastic. He moves a little slower. He's obviously much older and part of the Los Boricuas back in the day, but that's a real OG right there, man. And it was such a beautiful thing for me to see, like, I guess, like, Puerto Rican culture celebrated. Like when Zelina Vega came out with that Puerto Rican flag, looking like a superhero from the island. That was a beautiful thing for me to see, man. You know what I mean? And it's beautiful because, like, look at like movies and TV shows. You never see. When's the last time you seen a Latino superhero? From Marvel Comics or DC Comics. You know what I mean? I know they're doing the Blue Beetle. We'll see if that shit's a success. That's what we get. We get a bug, right? Latinos, we get a bug. You know what I mean? Black people, they get a cool ass superhero like Black Panther. We get a fucking beetle. That says it all right there. But yeah, man. It was special. It was a special night, and I love to see the LWO too coming out with, like, the Puerto Rican colors and the Mexican colors, and I seen some in the crowd too. And that shows me the unity as well. It was like a celebration of Latino culture in general. And that's one thing that really touched me. Because that's what we need, man. We need unity. Latino people, we're a little bit divided to a degree. But we need to be united, man, because that's the only way we're ever gonna get more superheroes. Nah, that's the only way we're ever gonna rise up to the top, man. But yeah, great show. The main event with Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes, that should have been the co-main event, and the Bad Bunny Priest match should have been the main event. But I could see why Lesnar Rhodes closed the show, because perhaps the booking committee, they didn't know just how good Damian Priest and Bad Bunny was gonna be. They probably didn't want to risk it. They're like, you know what? Let's just play it safe and make that the co-main event, and we'll have that way, in case that ends up being kind of a stinker, Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, they can close out the show putting a smile on the fans' face. But they messed up. They messed up. They should have had it in reverse. Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes should have been the co-main event, and Bad Bunny, Damian Priest should have been the main event, the match that closed the show.
because that match was firing on all cylinders. It was never gonna be topped. In fact, it overshadowed everything else. Like Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes was an afterthought. The Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Matt Riddle 6-man tag against the Usos, that was an afterthought, and you heard it in the crowd. One thing I also want to talk about is Bianca Belair and Io Sky, bruh. Io Sky is over like Rover in Puerto Rico. You love to see it. That was really interesting to me that Bianca Belair was actually getting booed and Io Sky was getting main event level pops. She had that big old grin on her face. I was like, man, I bet when she went backstage, she was like, can we come to Puerto Rico every week, every month? I mean, she never got a reception like that ever in her life. That's a highlight for her career. I'd be willing to bet you money that that is now a highlight of her entire career right there, is performing in Puerto Rico. That match was fantastic. I'm gonna tell you right now. Say what you want about Bianca Belair, like, oh, she's a boring champion, blah blah blah. Bro, she's one of the best. No, you know what? Bianca Belair might just be the best overall athlete right now in women's wrestling. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not saying she's the best women's wrestler, but I'm saying she is quite possibly the best overall athlete in women's wrestling today. The only other two I can think of that could maybe match her is Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Bianca Belair is an incredible athlete, man, and she just performed to the highest level in this matchup with Io Sky. And it was a great match. And even though Io Sky lost, but they're telling the story that Damage Control pretty much caused her to lose. Bailey, in particular, caused her to lose. So I guess they're on the road to splitting up Damage Control now, which makes sense. That little faction there, that little group, it didn't seem to really take off. So they're probably going to pull the plug on it. And this is their exit strategy. And I don't know if necessarily Io Sky and Dakota Kai, especially Dakota Kai, I don't know if they're ready to go solo dolo yet, but I definitely want to see more Io Sky though. Whether she breaks off as a tag with Dakota Kai or she goes single, because she's also talented and very good, very very good. Omos is another big story coming out of Backlash because he actually looks like he's improving, man. Like the match was not as horrible as I thought it was gonna be. Omos is he's a stud, man. I mean, when you're that big, that's an attraction right there. That's an attraction. And I mean, he's performing better than the great Khali ever did in the multiple years that Khali was a WWE superstar. You know what I mean? So Omos and Omos is still very young in this company. I don't even know if he has like maybe 2 years at most with the company already. And he's improving at a tremendous rate. So big ups to Omos and all the Omos sapiens out there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the main stuff I wanted to talk about. The triple threat was that was the bathroom break match. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. WWE Backlash San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now I'm hearing reports going around on the internet via Dave Meltzer that apparently WWE is not gonna be returning to Puerto Rico for quite some time, and because they only got paid like $1.5 million. Because they did one of those deals where WWE was gonna promote tourism there in Puerto Rico, and they did. They were doing all those little cut scenes throughout the show of the Puerto Rican beaches and the resorts and stuff like that all over San Juan, and Beautiful, beautiful place, man. Beautiful. That's definitely a bucket list thing for me too, is to visit Puerto Rico one day. But yeah, so WWE, you know, when they're going to Saudi Arabia and they're getting paid billions of dollars to go there, and Puerto Rico over here, they're paying them 1.5 million. Hey man, you know, we don't have a lot of money in Latin America, bro. You know what I mean? We don't got that oil money like the Saudis do. But anyway, so yeah, WWE they're not gonna be coming back to Puerto Rico for quite some time, supposedly, allegedly. That remains to be seen. But man, that sucks because that crowd was special, man. That crowd was special. Like I said, everybody wants to big up Chicago, bro. That San Juan, Puerto Rico crowd put Chicago to shame. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna run it back. They put them to shame. A very special crowd and a special night. Special night, man. Everybody, Rey Mysterio made a cameo appearance. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, you know what I mean? And all of those cats. The legends, Savio Vega, Carlito. Special night. You love to see it. Is Gervonta Tank Davis the new face of boxing after delivering a lethal body shot to the liver, making Ryan King Rai Garcia bend the knee, stopping him in the 7th round of their mega fight last month. You know, before I even get to that, let me just say I was rooting for Ryan Garcia all the way up until he came out to that emo melodramatic TikTok song in his entrance. I switched sides so fast, man. I mean, you know, Davis coming out with Chief Keef and just looking like he meant business. Ryan Garcia looked like he was petrified. I mean, you know, the attitude he exuded in the press conferences and then his whole vibe in his entrance, completely different. Let me just say that right now. I legitimately was rooting for Ryan Garcia up until his entrance, bro. I'm not even playing. I'm not. I don't know what the hell song he came out to. I got depressed during Ryan Garcia's entrance. I got depressed. And then Davis comes out with Chief Keef, and Chief Keef is lip syncing. He's not even rapping. And you know, all this to say, Gervonta Tank Davis, you could debate that he's the face of boxing, but when I seen Canelo's entrance against John Ryder in Guadalajara, with all those mariachis playing him out to the Rocky theme and the pyro, the pageantry, bro, that was a WrestleMania style entrance. I'm not gonna sit here and say Gervonta Tank Davis is the face of boxing when Canelo is still active, because Canelo's entrance, that was out of control, bro. I got the chills. I've never ever gotten the chills from a boxer's entrance ever. That's never happened before. That only happens for certain wrestlers' entrances, you know, because they go over the top for certain events like WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble. But Canelo's entrance genuinely gave me chills. The fight, not so much. Just Canelo's entrance. I mean, that really I would have paid, you know, for a ticket just to see that entrance if I knew he was gonna come out like that. I didn't even watch the fight live as it happened. I actually just seen it on Twitter. I seen his entrance on Twitter and then I looked up his fight highlights. But man, that entrance was spectacular, and it remains to be seen what Canelo does next. Of course, he wants that rematch with B-Vol, and I think that is a very poor move. If that's the decision he makes, I don't think that's gonna bode well for him. I really think he should go after the Charlos or take a risk against Benavidez, because as big of a monster
as Benavidez is, I feel like Canelo has a better chance of beating Benavidez than he does Bivol. You know what I mean? Bivol is just a whole nother level. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother stratosphere right there. And I just don't think Canelo can match that. But in the case of Davis Garcia, let's get back to that fight now. I never did talk about it. There's a big debate going around, and I can see both sides of the fence here because you have some people, you know, calling Ryan Garcia a coward, saying that he threw the fight, that he could have got up and kept fighting. The punch didn't even look that hard, blah blah blah. But then the other side of the token, which I kind of lean more towards, listen, man, you know, everybody responds to things differently. And a body shot to the liver, that ain't no joke. That is not a joke. That shit will paralyze you temporarily. It might not even look that hard of a punch. First of all, right, Gervonta Tank Davis is one of the hardest punchers in the sport right now, if not the hardest puncher in the sport right now. Okay, so when you have somebody who is one of the hardest punchers on the entire planet, giving you a nice punch to the body, bro, it's gonna hurt. You know what I mean? It don't matter how many abs you got, how strong you think you are, it's gonna hurt. And people could say, oh, Pitbull would have got up, Pitbull would have got up, blah blah blah. But everybody takes things differently. What might hurt somebody might feel good to someone else. Vice versa. But no body shot feels good. No body shot. They all hurt. Um, you know, and Ryan Garcia, he got reckless, bro. Even if he continued fighting it, let's say in an alternate timeline, Ryan Garcia did get up and he did you know continue on with the fight, bro, he would have got slept. He would have got slept so hard. He got reckless in the first two rounds. I was yelling at the TV. My old lady was perplexed because I'm like, "Stop getting reckless." And my wife, she's like, "Well, he's doing good. He's being aggressive." I'm like, "No, he's gonna get dropped. Watch." And boom, he got dropped in the second round. And I knew right there once he got dropped, once he got reckless, really, I knew that pretty much what I said in my prediction was the truth. That he doesn't have the footwork, he doesn't have the patience, to defeat somebody like Tank Davis. And it's understandable because you guys got to keep in mind Ryan Garcia is a young cat, man. He's in his early 20s. He's got a lot to learn. He's Canelo's age when Canelo lost to Mayweather. I think Canelo was actually younger than Ryan is now. I think he was like 22. Ryan Garcia is like 24, I believe. But he's a young cat. He's got a lot to learn. And he got reckless. He got too excited. And then what happened? Then he tucked his tail between his leg for the rest of the fight until he bent the knee. That's what happens. Boxing, this ain't something where you can get too excited on. You gotta be focused. You gotta be patient. Concentration. Concentration is the key, Daniel-san. You gotta be laser focused, man, because this sport ain't no joke. The art of pugilism, hand-to-hand combat. And it ain't like MMA either, where you got your feet, you got your elbows, you could grab somebody and take them to the ground and try to choke them. Like in boxing, you have a limited toolbox, just your two hands. That's it, and you got to utilize your footwork, to enable those two hands to land strategically. And Ryan Garcia is simply not a complete fighter yet. And I'm not making excuses. Don't take this, please, anybody listening out there, don't think to yourself, oh, look at this fool's trying to make excuses for Ryan. Like, nah. Gervonta Tank Davis is the better man. He's the better fighter. He's the superior fighter. That's a fact. That's not, it's not because, oh, well, Ryan is, I don't think, people are saying, oh, Ryan's gonna come back better than ever. And I think he could. I think he could come, theoretically, he could come back better than ever. But I don't think he'll ever get to a complete level where he can defeat Tank Davis. He was saying, "Oh, we're gonna run it back and this and that." No, you're not. You're not gonna run it back. Um, you know, Ryan has a history of being lazy in the gym, not wanting to devote his time completely. That's why he split with Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's camp. They said, man, this kid he's not focused. He's not really into this. He'll come to train for 30 minutes and he wants to leave. He don't want to go full throttle. He don't want to put in the work. So unless he changes that attitude, he's never going to evolve into a complete fighter to the level of a Tank Davis. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen. And I said it, I put him over. I put him over though in my predictions video. I said, man, he's a good looking cat, he's charismatic, he could be big for boxing, and he can. And I'm sure he knows that. But he needs to be more invested in training, man, and training and upping his boxing IQ. Because if he doesn't, he's never going to evolve into a complete fighter. He's got the tools. He's athletically gifted as well. But it is what it is, man. Gervonta Tank Davis is the superior fighter, and I predicted him to win by knockout. I thought he was gonna sleep Ryan Garcia. I did not anticipate he would win by way of making Ryan bend the knee. That's actually worse. You know what? Getting when a boxer leans down, man, like taking the knee, like many fighters have before. That's actually worse, in my opinion, than getting just full on slept. You know what I mean? That's even worse because when you take the knee, it's like you're bending the knee and bowing down to your opponent. You feel me? Like that's even more degrading than just getting slept, put on the canvas, asleep, nighty night. Like that's if I was a boxer, I would rather get slept than to take the knee. You know what I mean? By getting a body shot so strong that I bend the knee and bow down to my opponent and I can't get up. The referee's counting, I'm watching him and I'm like, fuck, bro, I can't feel my legs, bro. I'm numb, my stomach, my liver, my ribs. He might have broke a rib. I can't get up. The air's knocked out of me. Nah, bro, put me to sleep. Put me to sleep. Because getting slept, there's some dignity to that. Because you went out on your shield, man. You went out like a warrior. You know what I mean. It could happen to anybody. You could just get hit, boom, and you're out. That's it. You know what I mean. And I never got knocked out before. In my life, I never got knocked out before. So I don't know what it feels like exactly, but I could imagine. You're just doing your thing, you're fighting, and then bam, you get dropped, and you're nighty night. And when you come to, it probably hits you. I would imagine as soon as you open your eyes, oh damn, I got knocked out, huh? Hey, good game, bro. GG, it happens. Um, so that's pretty much it, man. I kind of regret spending $85 because that undercard wasn't very good. Benavides Plant set the bar pretty high, man. That was a great show. They actually had a good undercard to go with it, but the Garcia Tank Davis fight didn't have a good undercard. Um, and I did want to see Ryan get slept. You know what I mean? I wanted to see somebody get slept. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, man. You know what? Canelo Alvarez, he's got maybe 2 or 3 fights left in him. And when he's out the door, Tank Davis will officially be the face of boxing. I know I'm contradicting myself. I know I said in my predictions, whoever wins between Ryan Garcia and Tank will be the face of boxing. But when I seen Canelo's entrance, bro, in Jalisco, nah. Canelo's still the face of boxing, bro. I don't care. You ain't gonna see Tank Davis make an entrance like that, bro. With all that pageantry, that was a crazy crowd, too. And the moment that Canelo steps foot outside of boxing, leaves his gloves hung up, Tank Davis will be the face of boxing.